This week's episode of the HP Outdoors Waterfowl Podcast is driven by Cornerstone Gun Dog Academy. CGA is the world's most comprehensive online gun dog training resource. They've got over 160 instructional videos that includes everything that you need to take a 7-week-old puppy to a finished gun dog. Visit cornerstonegundogacademy.com, sign up for their free preview module, and begin your training journey today. Cornerstone Gun Dog Academy, the most advanced gun dog training resource on the web. You are listening to the HP Outdoors Waterfowl Podcast, episode 157. This week on the show, we got part 2 of our hunt in Saskatchewan with Prairie Limits Outfitters. All right, welcome to episode 157 of the HP Outdoors Waterfowl Podcast. We're your on-demand audio host for all things waterfowl and waterfowl hunting. I'm your host, Josh Palm. Check us out at hpoutdoors.com, across all the social media platforms out there, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can also find us on any quality podcast database out there, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, any of the good ones. You can find our show. This week brought to you by Quack Rack. Quack Rack is a premium decoy gear hauling solution for your UTV or boat. It's 100% American made. Front racks, roof baskets, and rear racks. Follow Quack Rack at Facebook or on Instagram. Check out their hashtag Haul More, Shoot More, and visit quackrack.com today. Also this week, thank you to the support of Gunner Kennels, engineered for your dog, designed for travel, and built for your peace of mind. The G1 Kennel has set a new industry standard and put Gunner Kennel in a category all its own. They were started to protect your pet, and it continues to be at the center of everything they do. And they're dedicated to building the best and safest pet travel crate on the market, because man's best friend deserves man's best kennel. Check out their G1 series of kennels and accessories at gunnerkennels.com. Also, thank you to 737 Duck and Goose Calls. Their original design, select grade components, superior sound, and unparalleled service. 737 takes exceptional pride in producing the finest quality, best built premium calls in the market today. They're made right here in America, and they're offered only direct to consumers through their website. Shipping in the U.S. is always free, and international orders are also now accepted online. A 20-day money-back guarantee and a lifetime warranty accompanies every call purchased. 737 Duck Calls lead the flock. Also, thank you to Duck Camp. Duck Camp makes high-quality hunting apparel in their own camouflage patterns and premium fabrics. These guys are shaking up the industry with their modern take on hunting apparel. They make super nice, lightweight, midweight, and heavyweight hunting shirts that are perfect for the blind, back at camp, or for a night out in town. We had a chance to check out their 3-layer ultralight rain jacket. Love that thing. It breathes really well, and it also can pack down into its own pocket, so it's perfect for your blind bag. Check out all of their gear and their new rain jackets over at duckcamp.com. Also, thank you to Lucky Duck. About the only critter that they can't deceive is you. Lucky Duck's more than a brand. It's a lifestyle built around the subtle art of critter deception. So while you're focused on the business end of your shotgun or rifle, know that they're completely focused on what matters most, you. So whether you're in the duck blind, dove field, on a predator stand, or chasing turkeys, they're confident that their products can help you succeed. Check out their full lineup at luckyduck.com. Keep up with their latest news by following them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also, thank you to Turtlebox. Introduced them last week, but if you're in the market for an outdoor speaker sound system solution, check out Turtlebox. All right, so this week we are in Saskatchewan again with Prairie Limits Outfitters, and I think we're like 2 or 3 days into our hunt when we recorded this episode, and we sit down with Brian Kramer and Ben Webster of Prairie Limits Outfitters and talk a little bit about the operation that they've got there. And we talk a little bit about, sort of hunting in Canada versus the States, and sort of all of the things that kind of go into that and running an operation to that scale, and just sort of covering a lot of that stuff, as this was the first time Dan and I had the opportunity to hunt in Canada, and the trip did not disappoint. Let's just say that. Dan's not with me right now. We had some late night travel getting back to the States. Dan had some issues with his luggage and his firearm, which we'll likely probably get into on the next episode. But if you're in our Facebook group, you probably already seen some of this stuff about that, but we'll talk about that probably next week. And so this week I wanted to just get basically right into the interview that Dan and I did while we were in camp with Prairie Limits Outfitters. So let's go ahead and jump to that now as we will welcome Brian and Ben to the show. All right, we're coming to you from Prairie Limits Outfitters here in Saskatchewan, Canada. We're joined by the two men running the operation up here, our good buddy Ben Webster and Brian Kramer. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
What's up?
Thank you.
Glad to have you guys. We've been up here the last couple days getting after it. Had a pretty solid hunt. We'll talk a little bit about that as we get into this interview. But I think first we want to just kind of start off by talking a little bit about the operation up here that you guys got, sort of how y'all got started, and a little bit about how y'all know each other and kind of what you got going on. So for anyone listening to this show that is not familiar with Prairie Limits Outfitters, tell us a little bit about sort of how you got started and what you got going on.
Well, me and Brian met. Actually, we had the guide-client relationship when I was co-owner of High Caliber Outdoors, and then when I split off and started Big Kansas, they came and hunted again, and we really just became friends, and it came to the point where he was just a friend coming out and hunting. He wasn't even paying anymore, and then we started DIY hunting out in the eastern part of Saskatchewan, and I just happened to bring it up one day that I wanted to do an outfit here, and he said, let's do it. I thought he was kidding, but it, turned into a real deal.
I was.
Turned into a real deal, and it's been great.
Yeah, this is Ben's brainstorm right here. It was I remember the day he called me, and I was like, boy, this is like a dream come true, but can we make it happen, And I said, give me a couple weeks, let me think about it. And checked in a few things, checked with the wife, and up and running from there. And it's one of those things that must have been to happen, because every time we ran into a hurdle, something would get thrown in our lap, and it was like, that's just exactly what we needed. And it just kept building from there, and everything we needed we'd find, or everything we wanted to get, it happened. So
but you did have to ask your wife for permission to invest in an outfitter in Canada.
Yeah, I did. I had to ask her. I actually have to ask permission every day for everything. So
know that feeling.
But it, yeah. I hope she's listening. This will give me some brownie points.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean it. At this point, it's like, okay, it's like, do we want to do this? But when you look at it, I know Ben's work ethic and things that he's done in the past. He's been very successful, and couldn't ask for someone better to partner with. So we brought another gentleman in, Rusty Wallman, and it's a great team that we have. So it's been a lot of fun, too, on top of it, which has been nice.
And I was, we were talking last night about the whole structure that Canada has with outfitters, licenses, units, or WMAs, whatever, however you put them out. Maybe give our listeners a little bit of an idea of how it's broken down and how you can actually acquire it, because it's pretty different than what you do in America.
Yeah. So they basically split the province into zones, or wildlife management units, WMUs. And you can own 5 in Saskatchewan as an individual, as a business. We happened to come across 3, came out here, hunted for about a week, checked out the area, fell in love with the area.
Actually, the first ones you found were in Alberta. That's where we started.
True. Yeah.
And then we thought that was all that's available. Ben says, well, we can get these 2 units in Alberta. And then he says, and again, this was something that fell in our lap. All of a sudden, these 3 zones, somebody else couldn't get them. They fell in our lap, and Ben was all over it. And, and it was actually where we wanted to be. So we were very fortunate that way.
Yep. So, and then each zone, the province set it up that each unit has X amount of outfitter licensing. Now, all the outfitter licensing is already purchased. You can't just go to the province and say, hey, I want to buy a license in Zone X. You actually have to go out, find somebody that has one or has one for sale, which is almost the hardest part about the whole ordeal. and then purchase it for that, and the price range can be all over the place because it's just an individual selling something.
Yeah, and that's what we were saying. Like, so you can max out at 5.
Yep.
Right, and each one might have 6, 8, 10 outfitter licenses available.
Yep.
It just depending.
It just
on size.
depends on. I'm assuming they did it by birds and then by population. I would assume. I don't know how they really set that outfitter number, but there's units with even up to like 17 outfitting licenses. Granted, majority of those people aren't running; they just own them. But
right. And you were saying that you can't sell them individually.
Correct. So you can't create new license. So when we bought ours, we bought 3 units. So if we're selling them to someone who's never owned a zone, we have to sell all 3. We couldn't sell 1 to an individual, to a private individual, and then sell 2 to somebody else.
Right.
And that's the way it works across the whole province. You can't create more license in the area.
And I was saying eventually it's going to get very narrowed down because as time goes on, eventually everyone's going to have 5.
Possibly. You don't know that.
It might be 100 years.
That's probably kind of our goal at some point.
Yeah.
But again, you got to have all the stars aligned. You have to have zones that maybe connect to yours or are close to yours, or find zones that are worth owning.
Right.
Because there's a lot of zones up here that are pasture land or woods that really aren't very good for waterfowl hunting.
Yeah.
Now, when you say zone, how much land area are we talking? And I'm sure it varies some, but like in general, what kind of area are we talking?
There's probably not an average size. Has there been? I mean,
No,
it's like they're kind of vary. They're cut up kind of, but our zone.
Most of it's like a natural boundary, right? Like river to river.
Yeah.
Kind of
Highways.
roads, highways,
Yeah, highways
or borders.
Yep.
For an example, our zone is probably from north to south, close to 4 hours long if you drove it, and maybe 2.5 hours wide. And each
that's one, or
that's all 3 of
that's
ours.
All 3.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. I have no idea how much acreage is, but it's a lot.
No,
It's more than we can cover.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's tons of property that tons of areas we haven't even had the chance to go scout in.
Yeah,
which we're fortunate that we haven't needed to.
By 2.5 hours driving.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing. Who wants to get up in the morning and drive 2.5 hours somewhere to hunt? 2.5. That's 5 hours you just spent driving.
Right.
So we have to get up early enough as it is.
That is big. That is a big area.
It is.
That's
so
crazy.
Maybe down the road we look at opening up a south camp or an east camp, but right now we're very blessed with what we have in the area that we're in. So we haven't had to drive, more than an hour at the most for any of our hunts.
So when was Prairie Limits created?
This is our second year.
This is second year,
Yep.
and you guys found this building right away?
No, this was another lucky
This
thing.
is something
So
that fell into you.
2 Januaries ago, once we started the program, Rusty and I came up to look at real estate. So we kind of all looked at it. We run stuff by Ben, but Ben's still running his operation in Kansas. So Rusty and I fly up here to look at some real estate. We hook up with a realtor, and we're looking at some buildings. We knew we wanted to be in this town or the next town over. So there's literally not much for building-wise. So we looked at some vacant buildings, and they were not anything close to what we were looking for. And while we were up here, this particular building came up for sale. And again, something that just got thrown in our lap. So this was an old hardware. So, it's 4,500 square feet basically, and it was a shell built in 1992, which is a fairly new building for up here. The old hardware burnt down, and the community came together and built a new building for them. So it was a square box, and we started drawing on some paper, and this is what we came up with. And we get a lot of compliments on our lodge. It's very comfortable. People love being able to sit up here around the fireplace, watch TV, play pool, spread out in the kitchen eating area, visiting with other hunters, and then if they want to, they can retire to their bedroom. So I feel we have a lot to offer as far as our lodge.
Yeah, this is a beautiful place, and I know, I get snaps from Ben when he was walking through, so he told us, we got in here at 3:30 a.m. the other day and had to leave at 4:45. He's like, when you come in, first room on the right is yours. And I was like, are you going to sleeping on a pool table, man? Because I remember you walking me through that. He's like, how do you know that? And I was like, dude, I've been following it for a while now, but no, it's you guys have done a great job here and definitely super comfortable. Maybe a little warm near the fireplace when it's 50 degrees and you just put the TV on and fall asleep. But it's
So I'm curious about the lodge because, I mean, the lodge is amazing. And when I look at what's around here and then you walk in here, it's like, how did you guys get this done here? So I'm curious, like, in that process of finishing out the lodge and kind of going through all this, what was like the biggest challenge that when you look back on, you're like, man, that was a pain in the butt to get that done, but look how good it looks.
Well, you gotta ask Brian because this was all Brian's vision, like the whole thing. This is all his idea.
It was sacrificing your life for 6 months, basically.
So we purchased this place in February of 2018 and probably had it, 95% done by September 1st of 2018.
Yeah, and then we really didn't start till mid-May with we had 2 young bucks in here that demoed the building. And then I got up here 4th of July, and here's the trick to it. It's hauling all of our material up here. It was cheaper to haul material up here than to buy it in Canada. And some things we did, like the framing material, the drywall, all of that stuff. But when it came to the finish work, all the trim, all the wood, the doors, the hardware, all the electrical, things like that, it was better to bring it across the border. So in that year, I made, I think, 9 trips back and forth to Michigan with multiple trailers. We had 2 24-foot trailers that we'd bring up packed every time we made the trip. So that was a lot of fun in itself. But we went to work, and it was just kind of a blur, to be honest with you. We worked a lot of hours.
The biggest hurdle is probably being I'm 24, 25 hours away, and Brian was 31.
32
hours away.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's the biggest hurdle right there.
Yeah. Just logistically making it all work.
And then the finishing touches, Ben and some of our guides flew out this year to Michigan and have a shop, and we made all of our lockers and all the trim, all the wood and everything here came out of our shop in Michigan. It's kind of a hobby of mine. We have a sawmill. We took it right from the log to finish. Allowed us to do a lot of custom stuff that really stands out in our lodge. So it was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of work. So, and we got a great finished product. So it was worth the effort for sure.
So I want to know how has Ben progressed over the years as a guide and owner, business owner, since you started, going to hunt with it.
You're assuming there's been some progress.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think it sure hasn't gone down. Well, the best thing is that we haven't stopped him from growing. That's for sure, because Ben has a great name in the industry. He's well known. He's well known as a hard worker. He does a good job getting clients on the birds, and it's been a blessing to have him, I'll tell you. I'd clone him any day and have more little Bens around here. That's for darn sure.
Little Bens, huh?
Little Bens.
Let's get some little Bens out here.
Where's Kayla at? She's listening to this? No, Kayla.
I'm not going to let her listen
some
to it.
Some little Bens running
We'll
around.
block her or something.
D9.
We could actually probably use a few more Kaylas than Bens.
I imagine so.
Yeah. Yeah, he's I think every year Ben works hard at getting better. Every year he asks me, what can I do to get better? And that's kind of a tough question when someone asks you that, because that's how important it is to him to get better. So, most people think they're already there. And actually Rusty had said to us in one of our meetings, which really sunk home, he says, it's easy to crawl and scratch your way to the top. It's hard to stay at the top.
Yep.
And that's kind of our attitude and what we're trying to do here. So, and there's more to just every day going out and shooting your limits. It's the whole experience. You know, it's how you're treated in the lodge. It's the atmosphere that you create here. It's the professionalism of the guides. That's all a big important part of it. You can go anywhere and shoot birds, you know, but it's the whole experience that we try to make for our clients.
So I guess let's take it in a little different direction, and just as far as when did you start coming to Canada? When did you start coming to Canada? And I guess some major differences in hunting up here versus hunting back at home or back in Kansas, not home for
Well,
us.
to my home, there's no comparison. You know, I've always said that when you come to Canada, you'll compare everything else to it. You know, the closest thing that I've ever hunted that could compare to Canada is Kansas, where Ben is. And then I've been up here for, I think I came for about 14 years on the east side of the Providence. And then after I met Ben, he wanted to come to Canada, so we came up here for a couple more years. So, and then that led to this.
Yeah.
So
for,
he
for
got
me,
you to
it's,
come up here?
well, I told him I wanted to come to Canada, and he's like, I know exactly where to go. And we really got along. We like, giving each other a hard time when we're hunting together, blah, blah, blah. So I was like,
High
why
fives.
not? What's going to hurt? I don't know where to go. Don't even know where to start. So I was like, it was almost like, well, I hope he knows what he's talking about. But
He found out we didn't.
It worked out great. We had a blast. I mean, that's one of the things that I miss most about having to come up here. Minus, I do miss home, and that. But I really enjoyed the do-it-yourself hunt.
Mm-hmm.
We'd go for 10 days and just hunt. Give each other a hard time and just,
Yeah, it's no
enjoy
different
it,
than,
right?
just like, I'll give you, for instance, tonight. Tonight reminded me of hunting with your buddies. There's 10 of us in the blind. We're cutting up, having fun, enjoying the whole experience.
That was a blast.
Not just, the shooting of the birds and all the other stuff. It was all of it. It was a great evening. It wasn't, we didn't have perfect weather, obviously, but we had a lot of birds flying over us. They didn't all finish. But, we knocked a few birds out of there that did come, and it was just a good time. And that's the stuff that we did as friends, and that's kind of what it was like tonight. And even being up here when clients come in, everybody has that same passion. We all have that same passion, desire that draws us up here to come up here. It's on everybody's bucket list. It's fun to do. You enjoy it. So when you're up here, it's like hunting with your buddies because you're all kind of the same.
Yeah, that's what I think Ramsey Russell said. It doesn't matter where he's at all over the world. Once you get in a duck blind, you're good friends with whoever's sitting next to you. And it doesn't matter where you go. That is the case, without a doubt. Now, do you find a lot of, let me see how to put this, a lot of people in different areas of their life, different progressions as far as people just want to come and crush birds, people want to come and experience a time in the blind like tonight when you see a ton of birds, and we still harvested quite a few, and then some of those that come up and might not even pull the trigger.
There's a lot of that. There's and Ben could probably test this better than I, but there's guys that come up here that I find that are true hunters that walk away and say, I just sat there and watched it. I couldn't believe how many birds there was. Like, we just had a group that was up here that had a spiral of snow geese come in, and they almost landed lit, and the guide called the shot, and they didn't shoot. They just wanted to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, when you're a waterfowl, you're like, how do you not shoot? So there's experiences like that it's fun to listen to the guys that experience that. You can just see them there. It's like, it was the greatest thing they ever saw.
Yep.
You get to see a lot of birds up here that you wouldn't normally see, in the States. It's a great experience for guys that even have done a lot of waterfowling. Those are the guys that are here to shoot limits. They're hardcore waterfowlers. That's what they expect. That's always what they dreamed of. They see all the birds up here, but at the end of the day, there's still wild birds. You can't control them. We shoot a lot of birds, but there's some days that, it's not, a barn burner. So it does happen. Not very often, but it has happened.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
birds migrate out. They change their pattern. They sit on water because it's too cold. I mean, it is hunting, but we do our absolute best to shrink that percentage of what some people call poor hunting, but it's not poor hunting. It's just kind of bad luck.
Right. I mean,
really, when you think about it.
there's a balance to be had there, right? Because if you're thinking, I'm coming here to shoot limits, and I'm air quoting here, right? Like limits. The limits here are higher than what we ever get to, really have a crack at it back home. I mean, we can shoot 8 dark geese.
2 mallards.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about up here. Up here.
Gotcha.
We could shoot
8 darks,
8 ducks.
5 bean spreads.
8 ducks, 8 darks, and like 20 snows or whatever.
Yep.
So, I mean, you're shooting in any given day 50 to 70 birds or whatever, and you're still not getting your limit, but that's the most birds I've killed in a single day in my entire life. So it's not like I'm not beyond thrilled at that experience. I mean, it's the best day of hunting I've ever had.
And there's still times I don't remember hunting with you before when either I would hold up a camera and video shots, or you holding up your cell phone and getting shots. I'm like,
Right.
This is weird. Like, it's something that you don't.
I'm just going to set this hole out because I know there's going to be like 5 more probably.
I couldn't believe that tonight, the video that you guys got with these snow geese.
Yeah.
That we actually had coming into the hole, which is very tough to do in the fall like this. And you guys are just willingly setting it out just to get the video. That meant more to you than pulling the trigger.
Yeah, and that was Josh on that one. I mean,
got you, boo.
You got 8 birds coming in, and 10 guns. Still, when those birds they were a little high, but I mean to drop every one of them. I'm sure that'll be on Instagram here shortly.
We did it for the gram,
but we did it for the
For the gram.
But I tell you what, we were laughing. We were laughing the entire freaking hunt.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the hunting though specifically, and Ben, I'm curious. When you started hunting up here, and fun hunting's one thing, but like as a guide, when you got clients, pressure comes with that. And what did you feel as far as, or was there an adjustment you had to make in your in the way you approached a hunt compared to like what you would do in Kansas? Different time of year, birds react differently this time of year, this location. Talk a little bit about like, was there a learning curve for you to sort of get yourself in a position where you were like, all right, I got this figured out now? And
I think this is a great question because we talked about lessers a little bit because geese right now are very difficult, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there was a learning curve because there are more birds here and there's less hunting pressure, right? So typically the hunting is better, or can be way better than it is in Kansas. Not that we don't have great hunting in Kansas, but there's a lot more hunting pressure. I have to let the birds sit and get more comfortable. In Kansas we try to let them feed 2, 3, 4 times in the field before we hunt them. Because the more comfortable they're going to be, the better the hunting's going to be. Up here you don't necessarily need to do that just because of the sheer number of birds. But I mean, my biggest struggle with being a guide is because I'm so passionate about it. I'm not. We don't do this to take people's money. Like, they're paying us to kill birds. I want them to kill birds. I want them to have an enjoyable experience in the lodge, the whole 9 yards. So that's what really stresses me out if we have a bad hunt. It wasn't because we put people in a field where there are no birds. I mean, there's crap and there's feathers and goose sign everywhere, and, they see it themselves. And then, the birds just switch their pattern. It does happen. I think the biggest hurdle for us is people have a higher expectation when they come to Canada.
Yep.
Because they think you just come up here and it's so easy. You just kill your limit. It's still hunting. You still got to hide. You still got to find the birds. You got to be where the birds want to be. You got to be in the right situation. And, then the rest of it, you do the killing. But people have this high expectation. They expect to kill limits. It's not always going to happen, So that's the biggest hurdle is, dealing with that. Not that the hunting's not phenomenal, because we have phenomenal hunting, but we do have a day here and there that, is not.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we've shot over 7,000 birds already.
Yeah. True.
So
I mean, I couldn't believe,
that's
like,
decent.
in a couple of the hunts we had, just I couldn't believe
Only
how
7,000.
willing some of these mallards were just giving it up, and it's like that's a combination of things, because one thing that always amazes me about when we hunt with you, it's we're with you or one of your other guides in the field, but then there's like all these other dudes that are out running around, like staying plugged into what's going on. So it's a buildup of all of that work. And then we get out in the field and, we're brushing the blinds and stuff, and like how much time we put into that. It's no different than when we're hunting back home and, we're going to see maybe 50 birds.
Yep.
That's our hunt. And so we care about being covered up. We might see 5,000 birds in this hole. We still care about being that covered up,
Exactly.
up here. So we approach it the same. And then it's just like, these mallards are just giving it up right now, right? Like, it's just amazing. It's such a good feeling to to experience that. And this is the first time for me that, we had a couple really good field shoots on ducks that I was just, that's for me, that's my jam. That's it.
And
And
that's
it's crazy because on the other hand, there's still like all morning this morning, we're like, what is going on? You know what I mean? There's a total opposite. There's all the birds are in the area, and we still ended over 50 birds. But how many times were we sitting there shaking our head, and we're like, maybe it's because the sun isn't out.
Yeah,
and then the sun came out.
We had to work ducks
and we
this
tried
morning.
to do.
We were working ducks, which is fun, but it's also like, man, what is going on?
Yep.
Why?
two of the biggest attractions to Canada, duck hunting, obviously, but it's all done in dry fields. That's what that amazes people. It's dry field hunting.
Yep.
And we can accommodate a lot of people that have, can't walk in waders, can't get in the water. Some of our clientele's more elderly, but with our blinds and stuff that we use, they're sitting on a bench. They can stand up to shoot. So these are the other things that make Canada attractive. So
we drove right up to the blind site every single hunt. It's like curbside delivery. You fall out of the truck and you're in the blind.
Yep.
That's what so special to Canada about me, and I tell people all the time, like, you don't have to go with a guide. If you want to do it yourself, you can take off, go to Canada. I promise you will either come back every year, like I did. The first time I went, I was hooked. Come back the rest of my life. Or you're going to want to come back. If it's a bucket list trip, even then, maybe you can only do it every 5 years, but you're still going to want to come back because it's just a special place.
Yep.
There's just so many birds. The people up here are phenomenal. The farmers are phenomenal. They're super, super nice. They want you to kill the birds as much as you want to.
Landscape's incredible.
Yeah. So
we feel like we got a very special place here where we're at. The contour of the landscape here is incredible. It's just absolutely beautiful. We have rolling prairie to very hilly prairie to gorges to valleys to you've got it all here in one little location.
I was definitely not expecting some of the hill or rolling valleys, like you want to call them. There's like big draws, and I'm like, man, there gotta be some muleys up in there or something. Like I'm sitting there waiting for some deer to pop out, and I just didn't realize that it wasn't completely flat. But it was an eye opener for sure.
That's the other thing that's nice for us just driving around is we get to see a lot of big game.
Yeah.
On top of it.
We saw some great mule deer.
Mm-hmm.
On the way in here, I almost hit a giant, and then the other day following you, there's one bouncing down the road and
right down the middle of the road.
That was funny. So how many? We kind of said the people that come up here are hardcore waterfowlers, or you think that they've been really connected or in the game for a long time. How many guys do you get up here that just cannot hit a duck or a goose?
None.
Honestly,
None.
Don't count me in that number. Right?
a lot more than you think. But we had a couple groups that were like, man, what is going on? But then I stopped and thought about it. I was like, you know what? This is majority of people's first hunt of the year. A lot of people don't dove hunt.
Yeah.
So this is their first hunt they're going on. They're shooting a lot. They could be cold because they probably came from where it was 95 degrees and, we're hunting it's 30. They're wearing a big jacket, so a lot of times it takes a group a hunt or two to knock the rust off, and then they're right back in the swing of it, right? So you have a couple bad hunts, and then
Are
you're
you
like,
calling
okay,
people rusty?
yeah, rusty.
No, I tell you what I think some of it is, and it's if you watch some of these guys and you're in the blind with them, they're not accustomed to seeing this many birds in their face. It's exciting. That's why we do it. It's truly exciting, and I think they flock shoot.
Yep.
They don't put their heads down the barrel because they're looking so much, and it's part of the hunt. It's extreme as far as the numbers and how close the birds are to them. And you think you can't miss, and you can miss all day.
I'll tell you right now, the one thing that Ben pointed out this morning that I was definitely guilty of, and we'd get birds working, he'd call the shot, and because there's so many birds like in the air, I'd come up out of the blind, and immediately my eyes are drawn up, and he's like, shoot eye level. He's like, there are birds like down in the decoys that I'm just not even, paying attention to because I'm shooting, I see these birds and they just distract me and I'm hooked up there. But then it's like, sure enough, the next one he called, I'm like, yep, they're right there, eye level, in the decoys. But I definitely got caught up in that just because of the sheer number that are working us. It's super easy to do.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, there's 500 birds above.
Right.
It's like,
Oh yeah.
and that's all you're
I'm just
looking at
I'm just
that,
like
too.
on a nature walk in there, and it's like, this is great,
It's so neat, and that's neat. That's neat.
Yeah, you sit in the blind, and one thing I hear a lot is, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God," and it's fun to
think that
watch
was me quite a
people
bit.
experience that for the first time. It's at least I enjoy that, seeing them be excited and experience something they've never experienced before like that. So that's part of it.
That probably happens quite a bit. Yesterday, our morning hunt with Colby, dude, we got some major shooting in, and we were at 30-some ducks, and I was like, there's no way that we're going to finish a 7-man limit right now. Like, there's no way. And they just kept coming. And
I want to talk about the hunt a little bit because they had scouted that field, and from the road you couldn't see it. But when we got out there was a round bale that was left out in the field that sort of exploded like the
That was
back half of
awesome.
it. So we had 2 A-frame blinds set up in front of that, and we used some of that exploded stuff from the bale to brush us in. And we had raved the night before we were hunting with Ben about how great our hide was, and this is just a grip, and it was a great hide. We brushed in great, it was good. And then I think we outdid it that next morning with that because we had so much material we could really feather out the base. Nice, there was no hard edges, no nothing. We were a big hay bale out there, and that was just a really fun hunt. There were a ton of ducks finishing just right on us. Like,
So here's a question, too. Something that kind of surprised me. Like, we get out there every hunt that we had here in the morning, and boom, I'm sitting here like watching. All right, we got 30 seconds still shooting time. All right, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 seconds. All right, guys, shooting time. Get ready to go. And most of the guys were just sitting there. And it's like,
well, normally
there's a
it's
good. Well, that's when.
what you're used to is you got like 2 or 3 woodies in the decoys, and you're like, are we legal? Are we legal?
Like, and that's
Are we
what
legal?
I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly
like,
right.
It is time to go. Like, and I'm on full alert, like looking out, and looking around, like, man. But it does seem like almost every day we killed a goose before a duck, which is like totally opposite of
Yeah.
what we ever do. Like we get the ducks come in
Killed the
first.
scout.
Kill the scout. Yeah, crow hunting. But no, like it's always ducks, and then a little bit later is geese, and it doesn't seem to be. It's not right at that time. So even when we were in Kansas last year, we're setting up decoys, and there's ducks landing on us.
Yep.
And we didn't have. It just seems like it's a delay by half an hour, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know when that flipped as far as when birds, because traditionally when I first came up here and started hunting Canada, you had ducks all over you, and it was still dark, and it was early before shooting times. And then through the years, that changed. It's like all of a sudden you'd see maybe a few ducks like right at shooting time, but then the geese would fly, and then all of a sudden someone would go, okay, release the ducks now. and then the ducks start piling in, which is totally backwards of what you think it should be.
Right.
Yep.
That's crazy. And it's always been a half an hour before and a half hour after sunrise, sunset.
Yep.
Which still happens, especially in September when it's warm. They'll fly early. Sometimes before shooting time, you're looking at the watch, and then right at shooting time, you're shooting ducks.
Pow, pow, pow.
But, for the most part, once it gets colder, they sit a little tighter. Especially, we've been hunting when it's cloudy in the morning, almost every morning.
Mm-hmm.
But you're hunting with Colby. Other than that, it's been cloudy, so that makes them sit a little tight. But for the most part, in October, we don't really have a problem with them being in the decoys before shooting time.
So let me ask you this. How much do you have to trust your guides when they tell you, Ben, I can guarantee you these guys are going to be limited out within the first hour tomorrow.
Did they really say guarantee? Was there a guarantee?
And put everyone in camp in one blind.
He's going there, Ben.
How much do you have to trust
He's got to bring it up.
Not one guide. How much do you have to trust guides that scouted this and give you promises like that?
Well, we no longer do that. Okay?
Well, that's what he said. He's like, it's going to be a long, long time until I don't trust my gut.
Let's just get this out of the way. Here's what happened. First hunt, and I don't do this, but the guy's been watching the slough staging pond. Duck's been hitting it for 3 mornings in a row, 5,000-6,000 ducks nonstop for 2 hours, right? And the guys are like, man, we could take all 15 guys in there, kill 120 ducks. And I'm like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah, we shoot them in under an hour. I'm like, you think we can kill 120 ducks in under an hour? And they're like, yep, guaranteed. They showed me videos, the whole 9 yards. I'm like, all right. Had this gut feeling, don't do it, but I trust my guys a lot. And we got burned by, I'm assuming they migrated out, full moon, not a lot of wind, warm. We shot 10 ducks. It was really rough. Kind of a humbling and embarrassing experience for me, but we made up for it in the evening and had some really nice combo shoots. But that's what it's still hunting. You can watch them for 2-3 days in a row, and then one morning they're like,
we gone.
I think we're gonna go, feed this morning.
We're
gonna go the opposite direction.
There's not a person listening to this show right now that has scouted a spot that hasn't showed up the next day and no birds hit it. Yep. I mean, that's just it, man. That's the way it goes.
But going back to the question, I've hired some of the best guys, or what I think some of the best guys in the industry. They do a phenomenal job. They're great with clients. They're just top-notch guys in the country. Some of them guide other places in Kansas, but 3 of them work for me in Kansas, and we hired some great Canadians to help us as well. They knew the area better than us. Wayne does a really phenomenal job. He's a local here, and you got to trust him.
We're real fortunate to have Wayne on our team. On top of that, is our local Canadian that we have. He's been instrumental in our success for sure.
So, the trust is very high. Got to have it. If you don't trust him, you're just going to be,
So next time you have 2 guides, say, Ben. There's 10,000 ducks in this pond.
I don't know.
There's all the ducks.
I might have to.
There's all the ducks in Canada in this one pond.
That I will guarantee. I guarantee he will. Ben will go and look at it himself.
I guarantee.
Number one, I don't like hunting anything I haven't seen myself. But up here, I guide way more than I do in Kansas, so it's just something you got to do. So you got to trust your guys. But one day, I will take 25 guys and shoot 200 ducks in one hunt. It's going to happen.
I hope it's next year when we're back up here. Because that would be phenomenal. And I tell you what, it probably could have happened our morning hunt yesterday.
Yep.
There were so many ducks.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. It was beautiful.
Yep.
Actually, I think both our hunts that next morning, you could have done that.
Well, yeah, we get back. We're like, yeah, boys, we killed 56 ducks. And they're like, yeah, we killed 64 in 45 minutes. I'm like, God damn. that must have been fun, too, because I had a blast. But that's awesome.
That would have been pretty neat. But
yeah, those are the days that you don't forget. we have a lot of good mornings, but we don't have very many bad mornings, and we'll remember that one for sure.
Oof. Yeah.
Knock on all the wood.
Yeah, that one left a mark.
What, Dan? What were our numbers that we did over the last couple of days? The final tally.
38, 85, 92.
Math is hard. What's the total on that?
215.
215 in 3 days.
Over 70 average, which the highest coming into this was, I believe, with Ben last year, 43 in a day.
Mm-hmm.
For me, we kill in the 30s back at home, but 40-some in Kansas, and then.
But I mean, this hunt, the majority of our birds that we shot were ducks, right? Numbers wise.
29, and today was 32 snows and 3 darks.
29. What are you talking about?
Geese.
Yeah, I'm talking about ducks.
Well, I'm adding up to see what is the 215. So 58.
Well, 7-man limit of ducks on yesterday morning.
58 and 35 is 93 out of 215.
My point is about all that. Like, we hunt a flyway where there is a 2 mallard limit.
Yes. Yeah.
We shot 56 of them jokers in one morning.
I tell you what, I need to get Miss Tilly's mustard.
Oh, those duck poppers were on
dressing.
point.
That's easy. It's jalapeno jam and brown mustard. You mix it together.
That's it.
Snap.
And it is outstanding dip. Actually, that's a Bruce or a Butch Kittle invention. I don't know if Butch made it or Butch got it somewhere else, but he's the one that introduced it to us.
It was super good. And we're cleaning hundreds of ducks yesterday, and we decided that all the pintails we shot will have pintail poppers. We had we had probably 3 mallards, and we had 1 bufflehead mixed in there. So somebody probably
Somebody ate a bufflehead.
There were 4 chunks of bufflehead in there. That someone was probably like, these duck poppers are real good. No one knows who got them.
Well,
I don't know.
Someone must have thought that was heart because they kept going, there's some heart in there. And I'm going,
there were heart. There were 2 hearts too.
What? I was wondering who put that in there.
There were 2 hearts. Now we're sitting next to Mr. Vandekamp, who is a regular to the show,
Friend of the program.
We're cleaning duck hearts, and he's sitting here laughing. Or we're cleaning ducks out. I was like, Vandekamp, here you go, bud. I throw him a duck heart. He's like, what do you want me to do? I was, oh, eat it. It's like, taking a bite of a deer heart. The first time you shoot a deer, first hunt in Canada, you eat a heart. And he did.
He said it wasn't that bad either.
He said it
just kind of
was
weird.
Full of blood and tasted like
gross.
Tasted like duck
Iron?
meat.
Chicken.
I asked about iron too. He said no, it tastes like mallard meat.
I don't believe that. I'm calling BS on that. Mallard meat. Come on.
I'm just going to take your word for it.
He did eat it too.
All right, so here's my question to you guys.
Oh, snap.
Were the expectations that you guys had set met from the lodging to the hunting to the customer service?
By far. One, I didn't. I as much as I saw you setting this lodge up, I didn't realize how nice it was.
Yep.
Like everything about it is just easy to get to. It's enjoyable. It's relaxing. I mean, if you want to go fall asleep, take a nap when you have 15 other guys in here, it's super easy. Everything is like perfect. The hunting, honestly, and I told you this yesterday or this morning. I said if we got one duck limit in, or close to it, one good duck shoot, like that's what I wanted. I wanted to see just the swarms, and we had multiple. It's just.
I'll tell you my favorite part about coming to hunt with you, and when we hunt with you, when we came to Kansas, we come up here, we hunt a lot with you. But there's times when you're scouting or you're with other clients or whatever, and every time we hunt with someone new, whether it be Colby or Corey last year or whatever, it's just like the first time is it's that whole you get in the blind together, and it's just like everybody's dudes, everybody's good cats and fun to hunt with, and they really you know, a lot of them are young dudes, but they really understand sort of like that balance of like, I'm a professional, but I have to make this like it's a back home hunt for you, right?
Guys
So
must
like,
you must have team meetings.
yeah, you have like you have like training seminars and stuff that you guys do and like role playing.
No.
I bet you all do some role playing.
we do, but it's of clients.
Like, let's be real. There's role playing.
Yeah.
No.
But I'm not just saying that. Whatever, it's for real. You know, the guys that we met hunting with you are all awesome dudes, guys that I'd share a blind with, whether it was a fun hunt or, you know, a guided hunt. Just a really good experience. The hunting up here for me has exceeded expectations. You know, never. You know, when I went to Kansas last year, I was like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. You know, and what we were able to do last year, and we essentially bested that experience on every hunt up here this year and
doubled it.
You know, and I've heard you say, you know, oh, it's not even that good right now. And I'm like, I can't imagine what really good looks like because this is really freaking good to me. And I think for most people, you know, that's the draw to Canada because even if you catch it on an off period, it's still really good.
Oh yeah.
And it's just worth the trip, you know. It's like we talked about on our way up here. We had delayed flights, you know, you got to work, you know, you get up here, but the payoff is worth it. It's totally worth it.
So what would you say to our listeners, one, if they don't think they have the means to start at an outfitter, what should their expectations or worries be about trying Canada for the first time if they haven't?
You just got to remember,
out for, you know what I mean?
people that don't hunt in the Midwest of the United States aren't used to knowing the importance of scouting, how really important it is. So if you're going to do a do-it-yourself trip, just keep in mind you're not going to be able to hunt every single morning, every single evening, right? Unless you go with a large enough group of guys that you can, you know, hunt for a while. If the hunt's not panning out or maybe the hunt's really good, you can kick a couple guys out once you guys start picking up decoys, make them go scout or, you know, whatever. You got to scout. Scouting is the most important part about hunting basically anywhere, but, you know, there's a lot of places that you can go hunt, you know, a public marsh and, you know, scouting doesn't really matter because you're drawing a blind, right?
Right.
But scouting's the number one most important thing. That'd be my main tip is just you got to scout.
Just a tip brought to you by Ben Webster.
Appreciate that.
That's right.
Bringing it back to the show.
I caught some flack about that
So
today
how
in the
about,
blind.
so,
Really?
I did, yeah.
yeah, we talked about it.
There's a little coup against me on this whole just a tip situation. Sorry, Dan.
That's glad it's on the other end of the blind.
I mean, we chatted. So what about, like you said, you know, you have the units, you have the guide licenses that you have to pay for. You can't pay landowners, correct?
Correct.
So then
That blows my mind. That
That
is amazing to me.
it's a very different
Yeah, it's illegal.
idea. So how, if I was coming up here as a do-it-yourself hunter, and I go and I have to ask permission, I
Yep.
assume,
Yep.
from the landowner. Are there any tips to talking to them? Are they, you can't pay them financially? Are there courtesies that?
No, just be respectful, be polite. You know, introduce yourself, handshake. You know, eyes to eye when you talk to them, and you know maybe they're doing something, they're busy, they need some help around the farm. You can help them out around the farm, or the majority of these guys, they hate the birds just as much as we love to shoot them.
Yeah.
So, you know, they want them off their property. The chances of you getting told no are pretty slim to none, unless somebody else already has permission.
Yeah.
You know, there are the random Canadian that doesn't like Americans, so you might be screwed there. But for the most part, the people up here have been nothing but phenomenal to us.
I think that's one of the biggest, just what makes me really enjoy it up here is that, like, you know, it's so different than what like we deal with on the East Coast, at least.
Yep.
You know, and it's just people can't wait to tell you no and can't wait to kick you off their land and like get all upset
Sue you
about
for
it,
leaving
yeah,
a shell on
or
it.
try to shame you for being a hunter or whatever. And it's just like to be in an area where that kind of lifestyle is embraced and encouraged and valued. It's just it's cool because they know hunters come up here, they spend money.
Yep.
They help
Yep.
boost the economy. I mean, that's a huge thing for Canada. We were talking about that earlier. Coming through the airport, Customs Immigration couldn't have been more helpful to like just help us get through the process as easy as they could possibly make it.
That was super. Again, the anxiety of flying and going through customs and worrying about everything. It was.
I mean, we were standing in the customs line in Toronto to come up to Edmonton, and the customs guy's like, "Oh, y'all got firearms? Come on." He just like cut us out of the line. He pulls us off to the side, just gives us like one-on-one attention while we're going through the line, and like
Let's get it
gets us
done.
squared away. And the people that were coming back from wherever, they were bringing a bunch. They stood in line. They brought us to the side and got us on our way. Super easy.
Yeah, the airports up here aren't very large either. So like Saskatoon's 9 gates and
Toronto's huge.
Toronto is, but that you try to
Not
fly
up-
through
not up
Minneapolis,
here,
but
right.
once you get to the final destination of either Saskatoon or Edmonton, they're not large airports. They're equipped. They see a ton of hunters, so they know how to deal with you, and it makes it very easy for
Yeah.
you to get.
Yeah, I
to
mean,
get
if
through.
people are intimidated about coming into Canada with firearms, it was super easy. The paperwork's limited. It's like $25. I think we paid, per gun to bring it in. It was very, very simple, and they're more than helpful. Like if you screw something up, like we had one of the people in our party's paperwork was messed up because the way that copied. He's like, no worries. I'll just fill out another one for you. No big deal.
Yep.
We
knocked it
have
out.
we have a number of clients that don't even bring their guns. We rent. We have guns here available for rent. We have all brand new Benellis this year. It's just for the convenience and the cost of it. It's not worth bringing your own gun unless like I can't shoot anything except my own gun. That type thing.
Yeah.
And then you don't even have to worry about it. And we provide all the shells, so we make it very convenient for our guys to get up here if they want to do it that way. Basically, bring your own clothes and your hunting clothes, and you're done.
Yeah.
Yep. Brand new Benelli Montefeltros. Shout out to Chad at Dunn Sporting Goods.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother. They had a really good sale going on, and we took advantage of it. And we actually really like them. We haven't had any complaints about the Montefeltros at all. They're
Nice.
a really nice gun. So
Yeah, I remember when you were saying that.
Yep.
I was like, get a hold of Chad, man. Come on.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, that's
Worked
cool.
out great.
And then before you know it, you're
And
like,
he would.
yeah, I just bought
I mean,
a ton of
not trying to like promote for Chad, but he was great for us. Customer
he-
service.
he took very
did
good
a
care
really
of
good
us.
job. So
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't know. I'm like happy right now, but sad because we're leaving at 5 in the morning to go back to the airport, and it's like,
It's a tough part about this, because we were up here because y'all did a giveaway in the 100th episode, which was super cool, and we appreciate that. And so we were up here for that, and it's like that was in September of last year,
13 months ago.
right? And you look forward to these times for so long, and it goes by so fast, and I'm like, God, it's like I gotta go back to work on Tuesday, man. Like this sucks.
Yeah.
But
just think about us when you're sitting on the tarmac and our clients are shooting ducks in the face.
Yeah, I'll think
Yeah.
about you.
You guys be driving tomorrow. We'll be sitting in the blind.
And I'll just be like, I can't believe he put 15 guys in one blind.
Oh man, I'm never gonna hear the end of it. Yeah.
Hey, but 10's a good number.
Yeah, 10 was perfect.
yeah.
Maybe there is something to that. I don't know.
Yeah, tonight's hunt just kind of fell together. We were thinking that we were rid of you guys, and then next thing you know, you're like stage 5 clingers, and you're still here. And we had a phenomenal shoot, and it was just fun. All of us hanging out together, and I truly enjoyed it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So
No, that was awesome. Because, yeah, I don't, when we talked, I was like, I think maybe because we're leaving early, we'll go back and get a hotel or something. And I guess we really didn't talk about it. Since then, I was like, yeah, we're staying tonight. We'll get up early.
Yeah, we just sort of invited
One thing-
ourselves.
Okay, yeah, we'll cook dinner. And
If you guys ever hunt with Dan, you'll learn that he's really mad at waterfowl. So I think it was all part of his plan.
It was part of my plan.
Oh yeah, we were gonna.
And Brian's like, so what?
I thought
what do you
we
guys
were
wanna,
hunting tonight.
What do you guys want to do tonight? You want to go on a snow hunt? I'm like, if you'll have us, we would enjoy it.
And then tonight when it was time to go, I said, we're probably done. Dan goes, no, we're not done. We're not done.
Like, 19
this
minutes.
is my last
19
night.
minutes
I'm
left in the
setting
shoot.
it out.
So here it is. He's
19
like,
minutes.
Yeah, we have 19 minutes. There's birds flying everywhere. So then some people start getting out, like handing their guns out. So I was like, no. I said, listen, this has been a long time coming. Can you not sit still for night? Am I with my twin girls, my 5-year-old and my 4.5-year-old? Like,
Did you guys kill anything in 19 minutes?
2 cripples
listen to this.
that we fetched.
Listen to this. There were 8 minutes left of shooting light.
Mm-hmm.
Birds from behind us. People outside the blind. A group of probably 300 snows for the first time come from in front of us towards us. I think you guys were walking back.
We were.
I'm like, I loaded my gun back up because at this point, Josh is like, dude, just get out of the blind. Everyone else is out. Just get out.
Yeah, I mean, they're like putting their guns in like the case
yeah,
and like
the
throwing it
guns
over
are
the
in
blind.
the cases. I'm like, and I'm sitting there. I was like, if I count to 3 and they're within range, I'm shooting them. And everyone's standing around me. I was like, I don't care. So they got real close, and I was like, test it out. They aren't that far. And I was like, I had
Free shells, bro.
So we had time. It was legal, and I didn't shoot. I was like, you know what? This has just been a great trip. Everything was great tonight. I haven't laughed as much as I did tonight in quite a while. Like tonight was just
how much weight you think you gained from Miss Tilly's cooking?
dude. I was gonna ask about her.
Ate more cookies in the
just
last
because she said
3 days.
She said if y'all do hit a moose while you're out driving around, bring it back and I'll cook it up for you. Which I'm sure that's probably not legal, but she definitely said she'll cook it.
I
cook up
gained
any game.
I gained a ton of weight for sure.
Well, you don't feel like eating, but you can't stop eating.
I have no self-control. I literally have not. I've not been hungry since I've been here, but I've ate absurd amounts of food each meal.
She is incredible.
Dude, we had those breakfast burritos the other day. I had 2, which I couldn't even close because they were so packed. And then I went back for a third.
Dude.
And then we went hunting again and came back for dinner. I was like, I'm disgusted in myself. I can't even swallow water right now because I'm so full. And then I ate dinner, and I was like,
Dude, everything
these meatballs, I think they're coming out of my nose.
everything we've
room.
eaten in the last 4 days since we've been here has been homemade.
Everything.
I'm gonna go home and peel
Cookies,
I'm gonna go home and peel a Nutri-Grain bar out of a wrapper. Do you know how depressing that is?
Yes.
That is terrible.
What's going to be depressing is I'm going to go home when season's over, and I'm going to walk in the kitchen at night, and I'm going to go, what do you mean dinner's not waiting? Why isn't food, it's like you get spoiled.
I can tell you right now, that's not gonna go well.
No.
I tell you what, that friend. Okay, so she makes her own bread, and then that French toast this morning with her own bread. Whew.
So good, dude.
And you didn't get her special raisin bread for French toast. That is real. And you didn't get her world famous cinnamon rolls.
Oof.
There's world famous cinnamon rolls.
You would run people
Not good.
over to get to these.
Well, first, I'm going to say,
I mean, I will crush a
Mansion
Cinnabon.
last year had some cinnamon rolls that
Nathan and company did bring it hard.
Nathan and company.
She might have some in the freezer. We'll get some out for you guys' ride in the morning.
Oh,
You'll
snap.
be blown away. Throw them in the defrost. Ooh.
You know what? I think there is some in there. Yeah, they bake and bake and bake all day, every day. So they come in, she does breakfast, and as soon as breakfast is over and it's cleaned up, they bake till dinner time, and then they make dinner.
Mm.
These ladies do not sit down.
No.
Her and Miss Donna are incredible.
That was yesterday. So we cleaned all those ducks and cut them up. They're ready to go. She's like, so who's making the poppers? And I was like, well, we're leaving now in 15 minutes to hunt. But I said, when I get back, I'll make them and we can eat them after dinner or whatever. She's like, well, do you just want jalapenos and cream cheese and bacon? I was like, yeah, pretty much. And she's like, yeah, we can do that. And I was like, okay. Let's do that then.
Well,
she's
if you got to twist my arm, Miss Tilly.
She's like, well, I have to go and get the bacon. I was like, okay. which we probably could have got that when we walked over for drinks, but
So I know we're probably getting close on time, so I do want to ask a question for Ben, just reflecting on one of our hunts from this weekend. Well, so when you're in an afternoon hunt
Mm-hmm.
and you're hoping to shoot some geese, and you're getting like just starting to get set up, like trucks in the field and the whole deal, and the whole entire flock of birds that you're hoping to hunt that afternoon,
The roost.
right, gets up.
Use your words, Josh.
Well, I mean, how many birds were there? Would you think?
Probably 4,000, 4,000,
Okay,
maybe more.
so when 3,000 or 4,000 birds all get up at one time, when you're sitting in the field with trucks and just kind of screwing around, setting up.
Yep.
I mean, is that good or is that not good?
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
That was my exact words. They went, oh, and they were like a mile and a half away, and I was like, that's not good.
Well, yeah. Dan goes, "Hey Ben, what's that?" He goes, that ain't good."
But luckily, they sat back down when
Yep.
I had like a 5-pack come over.
Yep.
My-
I've said that ain't good probably 50 times.
Well, what
since
else am I
then.
gonna say? Oh yeah,
Well,
they always do.
what
They
do you
always
want me
do
to
that.
say?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was fun. That was funny though.
that was a good hunt.
It was a good hunt. That was a good hunt.
Yeah, it's not like when all the snows come out and then they give you a little look and then they bug off and rack over the next field and then like you just watch birds all day go past you.
I'll tell you though, that hunt tonight, I was surprised at how well we worked some of those groups, and some of them came down from a long way. I mean, they broke it down pretty nice, some of them groups, and they did it good and put on a good show. And I wasn't expecting them to work as well as they did on some of them. I was expecting it to be,
especially with the weather that we had.
Yeah.
You know,
No
to
wind.
really be
Yeah, no wind.
truly successful with hunting snow geese this time of year is you need the weather to help, and a nice wind would help. We had nothing. We had
Yep.
none of that.
Yep.
So
And I mean, the snow goose hatch was definitely way better than last year. I wouldn't say it's a phenomenal hatch or anything like that. It's not like the 2017 hatch where there's just juvies everywhere. But
definitely some
there's
juvies.
juvies,
Yep.
right?
We
Yeah.
So which is a
we
big
caught quite a
improvement
few
from
juvies.
last season.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I tell you what, there were some trophy birds taken tonight,
Mm-hmm.
and I almost feel like I should have taken some home, but
actually, we
Yes, it
put
is
them in your suitcase. I don't know if
that
you
works,
noticed.
man. It's-
Well, Vandecamp's got a mallard
he
going back
does have a
to
mallard going home.
Annapolis, Maryland, so that'll be on the wall.
But there was that one, the one juvie with the orange head.
Yeah.
But man, so why are they so soft right now? Why are those birds so soft?
because it's a juvie.
I think they're
Yeah.
always
No, 'cause that
the ones that
adult
I've shot
snow?
the ones that I've shot
I-
like that are always they're fluffy.
I think they're, up here you're getting them right after they molted again, so they're not all beat up.
Fresh,
They're
fresh
Yeah.
feathers.
Fresh
They haven't been
feathers.
through
That
the
makes
weather.
sense.
They haven't been, haven't been through all the weather, haven't been through all
And I
the
think-
mud.
And they've just got a lot more feathers, like it feels like to me, than like a Canada. The Canada's got like it feels like bigger body mass underneath their feathers, where a snow's got a lot of feathers in there, and their
Yeah.
actual body mass is actually kind of small
Yep.
comparatively inside, which it's always
Yeah, we had a man. If you wanted to do a dead mount of snows, tonight was the night to take snows home.
yeah, we had some nice birds.
Some
For
really
sure.
nice birds.
Yeah.
So, what are you guys' future goals of Prairie Limits? You said eventually, possibly get 5 units. Maybe a different campus somewhere because it's just too far to get somewhere. But it seems like a big undertaking.
It is a big undertaking. Right now our goal is to get this up and running at full capacity, and which we should be there by next year, and continue doing what we do now. Every year you get better and better because you start here and you set things up, and it's like every year, okay, we can do this better. Here's a better process to do that. So we've gone through that. We've got a lot of experience between all of us. So that's our main goal right there, and take care of our clients. And then from there, maybe a couple of years, we might look at, some growth opportunities. So that's kind of what we're thinking right now.
Now, what do you think is the biggest hurdle having your own lodge?
there's just a lot more that goes into it than what I expected.
Yeah.
You know, because I kind of subcontract out my lodging and meals in Kansas, you know, with the Prairie Oaks Inn, and you know they do a phenomenal job, but there's a lot into it. You know, Brian's basically our lodge manager, you know, co-owner lodge manager, and he does a phenomenal job. But there's still, you know, days where I got to come in and help him out so we can get everything done. You know,
Yeah,
there's just, I mean,
it's a team effort to get all this done. I mean, there's a lot of work behind the scenes, and everybody talks about, man, you guys do a good job, which is great, because when you make it look easy, that's when you know you're doing things right.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah, there were really no fires that needed put out, anything of the sort. So, man, I can't thank you all enough.
Yep.
A great trip. You know, this, like you said, it was a 100th episode giveaway. We had Ethan Rogers and a couple of his buddies up from North Carolina / Nashville, and they killed more birds than they're used to killing. And
I mean, I got to say, too, you know, we're up here because of the 100th episode giveaway and the hunt that we did up here. We're going to be back with Ben in Kansas in January because of another hunt that he gave away for the 100th episode. So, I mean, we definitely need to thank both of you all, but also thank you, you know, to Ben for being such a big supporter of the show. And, you know, we certainly appreciate the opportunities you've given us, and also, you know, the opportunities that we've been able to share with our listeners, you know, through your generosity and everything. So, you know, for that, man, we appreciate you. And this weekend has been, like I said, has exceeded my expectations, and I can't wait to get back up here and do it again and just watch you guys continue to build it out up here and keep delivering on the goodness.
Well, we definitely enjoyed having you guys in camp for sure.
yep. Welcome back anytime.
so next
Spring
year,
snows 2020.
next year when we come up and you have these pit blinds that are 15 men deep.
Oh man, jeez. Get off my back, bro. I'm never gonna let that one down. That's gonna haunt me
Next
for a
time we're
while.
going 20 guys.
I
was very disgruntled.
I will give you credit. Before any of that happened, you said, against my better judgment, this is what we're going to do. And then as we get in the blind, you're like, I have a bad feeling about today. I should have trusted my gut. And then, you know, things went down, and you're like, well,
And
I
it
guess
wasn't
you kind
anything.
of just walked away because you didn't want to talk to him.
It wasn't anything against my guys or anything, you know, because I
Yeah.
trust them. I know the ducks were there.
Yep.
The duck sign was
Yeah.
there. They were excited about it. Like, I just had a weird gut feeling. I was like, man, this just doesn't feel like I should be way more excited about this hunt that's about to happen.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. I was like,
I think we felt that from you a little bit too. Like,
Yep.
normally, if that's the thing, then you'll be like, yeah, we might get your 2 ducks today.
But like I said, guys did a great job. We rallied. You know, we had 2.5 days of phenomenal hunting afterwards.
215 birds, man.
Yep.
I mean, that's just dumb.
It is.
Yep.
So I mean, with a one bad hunt, we're still average over 70 birds a day.
My shoulder hurts from shooting so much.
I
I'm
tell
not.
you what.
I'm not even lying. Like, I feel like I threw like 9 innings
There-
back in the day,
I'm not-
back in my prime.
there
Ben.
was tonight.
What was that? When you were 14?
Yeah.
There was one at the point that a couple of the snows got straight above us, and I was shooting, like, back was bent backwards, and I'm shooting up above and behind me. I took one on the shoulder and felt, I was like, you know what? At this moment, I could say, I'm just going to take video the rest of the time because my shoulder is a little tender. And I knew that coming in, but I assumed maybe, you know,
Well,
second half of October we'd be wearing jackets.
Right.
It wouldn't be too bad because you just don't shoot that much at home.
It's been a little warmer in the afternoon hunts here, so
It has.
we're going kind of thin on the layers.
We've been.
You get that little extra padding you need in there. You know what I'm saying?
It was fun.
Yeah, we've had a stretch of warm weather here again, you know, mid to high 50s. And
Yeah.
full sunshine, that makes a difference.
Yep.
For sure.
But I really don't. I don't know where to go from here. We're gonna go home.
We're gonna go to Edmonton Airport in the morning, bub.
Well, I know that. not too many hours away, but just
Go back to 2 mallards.
go back to 2 mallard limit and
Yeah.
Crazy thing is, it used to be able to shoot 12 up here.
Oh,
Could you imagine that?
No.
Man, that'd have been
When
cool.
was that changed?
So this was probably in the 90s, 80s, 90s, somewhere in there. It was before my time hunting up here, but we have some local Garnett's always in here, and he was telling us, yeah, back in the day we could shoot 12. So he looks 80, but he's in his mid 50s. So
Was that the cowboy hat fella?
No, he's the guy that just left.
Oh, gotcha.
So, yeah, they said they'd shoot 12. That was their limit.
Sheesh.
That's awesome. Well, guys, I'm always the timekeeper. We're an hour and 10 minutes in.
Ooh.
We're back. Quicker than
Yeah, I mean,
it goes.
well, and I appreciate y'all indulging us because it's not often that we get to do these in person, Dan and I. It's definitely the first time we've had Ben in person. A couple times been on the show,
This is
first
what,
time
like
in
your
person.
Third show?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right.
But first time in person. But
Yeah.
these are always fun for us to be able to sit it across to the room from each other and make faces at each other when we're talking and stuff. So makes it a little easier to do. So appreciate you
Busted up.
guys.
It's been great. Appreciate
Been
you
real
guys.
good.
So early mornings for all of us. So
Yeah, we got
You guys came in in the early morning. Now you're leaving early morning. So
that's how we roll.
Do what you got to do to party.
That's it. That's it.
well, thank you guys. It was a pleasure having you up here at Prairie Limits. So
Yeah, what's your Insta?
Plug the
/
social,
website?
bruh.
Instagram is Prairie Limits Outfitters, and then we also have a Facebook page, which is the same, and our website is www.prairielimitsoutfitters.com.
Limits.
Limits.
Multiple limits.
That's the goal, right?
Limit.
All the limits.
Is it a S or a Z?
S.
Gotcha.
A Z. Come on.
Fellas, appreciate you.
Thanks, boys.
thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks again to Brian and Ben for coming on the show. And thank you to Prairie Limits Outfitters for their support of our show and donating that hunt for our 100th episode giveaway. And, we just had an amazing time up there. Shot 215 birds amongst the group in 3 days. Just unreal hunting. So if you are considering a waterfowl hunting trip and you want to do something that's going to be a memory of a lifetime, I can't recommend Canada enough. Some guys do it DIY and things like that, and that's fine. Certainly, if you're looking to go with a guide service, Prairie Limits Outfitters certainly showed me everything that I needed to see to have a quality experience in Canada. So definitely a great option for you if you're in the market for a hunt or interested in pursuing a hunt in the coming years up in Canada. That's going to do it for this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that chat up there in Canada. Dan and I will be back together next week to get you some new content. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about our time in Canada. And as I mentioned previously, give you a little insight into what happened with our baggage and our firearms situation coming back into the U.S. Let's just say Dan had a little more problems than I did, but I'll leave that till next week so he can get into that a little bit. But before we get out of here this week, I do want to take a minute to thank Quack Rack, Gunner Kennels, 737 Duck and Goose Calls, Duck Camp, Lucky Duck, and Turtle Box, and also Cornerstone Gun Dog Academy, the world's most comprehensive online gun dog training resource. They've got over 160 instructional videos that includes everything you need to take your 7-week-old puppy to a finished gun dog. Visit cornerstonegundogacademy.com, sign up for the free preview module, and begin your training journey today. Cornerstone Gun Dog Academy, the most advanced gun dog training resource on the web. All right, that does it for episode 157. Hopefully you enjoyed our chat from Prairie Limits Outfitters and talking a little bit about our time in Saskatchewan. If you're new to the show, head over to iTunes. You can check out all of our past episodes there, as well as leave us a 5-star rating and review. We certainly do appreciate that, as it'll help like-minded hunters just like you find our show. That's going to do it for this week. Next week, Dan and I will be back together with some brand new content for you guys. So until then, for Dan, I'm Josh. Take care.